we're gonna kind of give you all a rundown of what we do day to day and how we take care of the airplanes and give you some insight on what goes on day to day behind the scenes on how we keep the airplane safe and efficient for you guys. Typically when something comes in, we like to start out giving it to the wash location. Sav's very good at keeping the airplanes clean. It's hard to inspect an aircraft when it's dirty, so we're big on having it clean first, and then it gets sent over to one of the mechanics. We have a board inside that lists all the airplanes that have been grounded, and then we dish them off in pairs to each of the mechanics to team up to knock the 100-hour out. We got some run sheets. We'll take some numbers down while the aircraft is being ran at full power. They can hear? They can still hear? Okay. So just like he's doing now, he just finished his 100-hour. We ran through our checklist, we inspected it, we performed all the maintenance, and now that he's completed it and put it all back together, he's gonna take it up to the run-up and compare the numbers from the run sheet prior and after us doing work on it, so we know the aircraft is working at 100% efficiency so they can have it back safely and comfortably. Like 4 to 5 stage of levels of how the airplane progresses from when it gets here. It gets cleaned. They take it outside and they run it and they follow a log sheet. Everything is monitored, whether it's from your idle, your 2000, your full power, alternate air, magnetos, fuel pressure, oil temp, everything is monitored. You don't want to see any issues as it comes in. That gives you insight on what may be wrong. The more you do it, the more you practice with the years to come, you start to catch on to even sounds. The way the engine sounds will tell you something's wrong. A magneto, you turn it off, so the engine dies, you know an issue, you know what's going on. The more comfortable they get, the better they become. Right here, he's in the midst of his 100-hour, so knowing he's got it all torn apart already, you can tell by the panels on the ground, the cowling's not on, you're missing tubes, all kind of goodies. They're either freshly coming apart or going back together. Tyler, are you coming apart or going together? He's going back together. So they just finished their 100-hour. He's required to put everything back up. You want to ensure all the panels, you know, we do a quality control check after to make sure all the panels are closed up, screws are intact, and the plane is as need be to be in the air, airworthy, as we say. So they're closing up. They found all their items. They've fix the problems, and then they close it back up and they'll create some log books and pass it on to the directors. And once the directors are happy with it, we're happy with it, we set it outside and then it gets QC checked after that, that's what they call it. And once it's quality checked and if there's any issues that they're not happy about, they'll make notes, they'll give it to us, we'll manage that, fix that as well, and get it going. This one just came in yesterday, I think, and as it's torn apart, we have checklists that we run through. And as you go through all those items on the checklist, you'll find items, of course. And then you have standard maintenance that you perform. If you want to come close and take a peek at this, most pilots don't get a good visual of the engines unless they come down here while we're working on them. Right. A lot of things are taken out and removed and cleaned repetitively as a service item to maintain the integrity of that part, like spark plugs, your fuel nozzles, you know, I mean, just about anything, magneto timing, all of it matters in regards to the health and longevity of the airplane, safety, the airworthiness, all of it matters. So we do our best. We create a good system to make sure everything is, you know, airworthy, safe to be in the sky. And we like to say we do a pretty good job at it. Nothing crazy's happened, and we'd like to keep it that way, and we plan to keep it that way. It is kind of quick. Wash, run, open, work, inspect, fix, close. Run again. Quality check it, send it home. You know what I mean? Sweet. You can kind of dumb it down and make it like real simple, but it's not that simple.
That's the workflow.
Yeah, correct. You're required years to even be able to do this, perform this type of work. So typically once everything gets the ball starts rolling, I like to check in with each pair. Like I said, we pair them up. There's always an airframe and a power plant mechanic working together in junction to complete the airplane as quickly as we can. Of course, we need them. Pilots want their airplanes back as fast as they can get them, you know. So that we try our best to maintain that efficiency. So we'll pair them up, and then as I bounce around a couple of times through the day, you'll check in and say hey, how's your progress going? Did you run into something complicated that maybe we need some more time, you know, something like that, or some some part needs to get ordered that we don't typically have in stock. And we have a pretty wide range of parts in our parts room, but every now and then something will happen, like a pilot running into a pillar, or things happen that unfortunately, but you know it happens. But it's good to have it up front, because you're gonna need to order something, and not everything can show up in 2 days, so sometimes it gets grounded for a while according to the type of damage. It's fair and in between, but it happens occasionally. So I'll check in, I'll pair them up, and I'll ask them if they've run into anything that will push back against the standard in and out rate, Yeah. And I'll make a list and just report to the directors in there and say, hey, this is what each pair of mechanics is doing, what plane they're working on, and the expected return. That's the goal they're looking for, because it's for scheduling. We don't need 20 airplanes hitting the ground while we just started another 10. So we create this good system where as they flow out, they flow back in, so there's not many airplanes grounded. Airplanes, they make their money while they're in the sky, so this is the downtime, and we try to mitigate that as best as we can by pairing them up, putting someone in between, and keep the message and the workflow nice and easy. So these guys just got back from their post run-up. So they just finished their 100 hour, and they went back to compare the numbers and ensure all the work that was done is gonna withstand the next 100 hours. So they go through, they'll run it again, they'll get it up max power, they'll get it really hot, make sure everything's working right, no failures in the G1000s, make sure all the components are responding as they need to. Compare the numbers of the sheets before and after, and then do a solid leak check. Make sure anywhere oil, fuel, just anything that can come out of the engine that keeps the engine running in the sky, you want to check it again. After you've done some work to it, you want to check it again and make sure there's no leaks, because the leak leads into loss of fluid leads to loss of pressure means loss of altitude, and then we start running into problems, and we don't want that. Yeah, we got Diego here finishing up his 100 hour. Diego, how was that leak check? How'd she run?
Pretty good.
How were the numbers in comparison to the pre-run?
The same.
Really?
Yeah.
And we have Jordan here doing an oil change, which she's currently missing. Ah, there she is.
Just kidding.
Jordan, did you make a little bit of a mess here?
Why do you say that?
I don't know. Looks like something happened. Hopefully nothing's leaking.
No, still quite a bit of oil.
Did she run okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Very nice. Leak check's looking good?
Yep. Still working on it.
I was telling the guys not long ago, like certain little points you should look at while you're doing it, like making sure your seats work. It's good to check your brakes and stuff, and then of course do your standard visuals of everything.